Okay, good. To start us off, we want to start in a little different way than you might be used to start in workshops. And I think, Wendy, you got some questions for us, right?
Right. Okay. So, everybody please stand up. I'm going to come over here. Adrian's excited. She likes the games. There you go. Okay. So, what I'm going to do is put this card in the middle, and this is where we are today. Everybody agrees on that, right? Okay. And this is where it is on the map of the world. So, I would like everybody to, around where we are now, go to where on the map that you were born in relation to where we are.
Maybe you should do some talking about north, south, west. I'm not sure.
Is that north?
Well, it's your map, right? So you're allowed to do whatever you want to do.
East, I think.
It's a world here, not.
This is the whole world?
This is the whole world.
So where's north? North.
All right.
North.
We know you weren't born on this world, so.
Right there.
Yeah, Germany would be east.
You're over next to your sister, you'll be going the same exact spot.
Are you playing? You're playing, so I have to get into this circle too.
Okay. I'm outside the room, but.
So, where was everybody actually? Chicago. Chicago. Me too. How would you be?
Morris. Not far.
Same. Oh, okay. Oh, nice. And then the next one is where we live now.
Germany.
I've forgotten about you.
And where do we live now?
Where do we live now?
Well, for the next month, I live at your place.
Okay. All right, then you need to go over there.
Where is it? Over here?
Well, this was south, so, and you're in Warrenville.
Right.
So, I
don't
mean,
know where Longford
basically,
is. Where's Longford?
that's pretty close. I'd actually have to stand on you.
I won't do that.
So, you're in Lockport?
I'm Lockport. Yeah, I live for the next month. Then.
That's sweet. Pennsylvania? Warrenville. All right, now the next one is actually a little more fun because you get to use some of your mind. If you had unlimited money, so money is not an object, and you were able to pick one place on the map and be able to stay there for a year, where would that place be? And go to that place on the map.
Yeah.
Oh, together.
I don't know if we're together.
Maybe we
I
go.
don't know where
Find
you
out.
go.
Okay. All right, Mark.
Hawaii?
Hawaii.
Why?
Why Hawaii?
Wow, you guys were like on the opposite
Hey,
end of the world
hey,
there.
why? He's over here.
Actually,
Actually, I was going to Paris too.
Paris, okay, yeah. Why Hawaii?
Yeah.
We've always wanted to go there, never gone there. So a whole year would be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
It's a small island, not a lot of people, so we'd be alone.
Okay.
Or fairly alone. That would be, and it'd be beautiful the whole year.
Nice. That's nice. Where are you, Martin?
Vancouver,
Oh.
Canada, somewhere up here, right? Is that right? From the.
Yeah, I'd say that's pretty good.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I liked it there.
What did you like about it?
Meeting you.
Oh.
And the landscape, and there are so different things to do. There are the mountains and the beach, everything connected. People were pretty laid back. Good food.
I agree with all that. What about you, Dawn?
I chose Wisconsin. It's my happy place.
there's a place there that I call Heaven on Earth, and I just love cabins in the woods and the lake, and I honeymooned in Wisconsin, and we've considered moving there. Really love it.
Wow, awesome.
So,
I'm sorry?
Utah.
Utah. Okay, so you like the landscape of Utah? Have you been? Okay.
Paris.
Why did you choose Paris?
Well, I wanted to go there in high school and then I forgot. But that's okay.
You speak French?
It's 3 years of French, but doesn't mean I speak it.
Okay. Might have lost a little bit.
Yeah. I probably don't know much at all.
Jared?
Actually, Germany.
Ooh.
My husband and I both are really fascinated with the culture there and the history there. I also took a year of German too, so I took my German teacher. He lived there for 25 years.
I know somebody.
Awesome.
All right, Jesus.
Yes.
If you had all the money that you needed and you had a year to do it, what place in the world would you want to go for that year?
Oh, which, I'm thinking in China.
China. Why would you pick China?
I've been fascinated with the wall, big wall, or the Great Wall in China. I was very, very impressed how more than 2,000 years what the human being is capable of doing it without computers, without all the machines that we have nowadays. It's amazing, you know.
Awesome. Well, thanks for coming.
And also, you know, it's a country has a big history and culture and a lot to learn from. And every single regard of life, you know, politics, philosophy, war, peace, everything. So yes.
All right, well, thank you
Mhm.
for sharing. Appreciate it. All right,
Okay.
then you can sit anywhere you like. Come on in.
My wife is she's gonna be here in a few minutes.
Okay.
Just coming?
Yeah, so
Oh,
you can
that's
ask the question when you get here.
Okay.
And we didn't register because we didn't know we were gonna be able to make it.
Oh, that's okay.
So let's
We're
go.
glad you're here.
Thank you.
There's 2 seats right there for you.
Who can make it? Rich?
No. He said he wasn't registered.
Oh, yeah. Great that you're here.
Good morning.
Good morning. This is basically, I would say, nearly every workshop, training, and project meeting, I'm starting like that. Because why? Well, it's fun for me, like playing around, breaking a little bit the ice, right? But what could be the meaning or the purpose behind that little thing? Little get in touch, right? So now I know, well, Mark wants to be in Hawaii, so maybe in the next coffee break we can talk about that, right? We have a connecting point to talk about that. And you can do that with groups that are 100 people. So sometimes we are working with big groups. You can do that with 100 people in a room, right? And people start moving and start sharing, oh, where are you? So it's kind of breaking the ice, but it's working on the culture. And that's the first model we want to share today, is culture versus content. Maybe that's a German flaw, but sometimes I have the feeling when we are in Germany doing business and starting off projects, what do? We meet, new group, project group, 5 people, 10 people, and then we say, okay, what's the target? What is our action plan? What are our milestones? Is our project plan? What are all the packages and what are the to-do lists? And now let's go. That's working on the content, right? That's working on results. We're impatient. We want to have results. We want to work pretty fast on results. So, results. By the way, this is the intensity and this is the time. What we discovered is when you start with just working on results without taking care of the culture, yeah, come in. The more people, the more fun. Hey, good morning.
Morning, excuse me.
No problem. Glad that you're here. Make yourself at home. So working on results, we have discovered that the The culture is the question, how do we want to work together? How do we want to communicate? How do you want to be treated? How we get trust into our system? That kicks in later, because later people tend to start arguments. After a while, after the third, fourth project meeting, we're talking about power, we're jockeying for power, well, you're treating me not the way I want to be treated. So later on, you spend a lot of time with the culture. And therefore, our recommendation, that might be the first recommendation of this day, to prevent some conflicts is just be aware of that there is a culture, there is a how, and people love to talk about or to get in touch, to get to know each other, and later on you're going to save the time, because then you can focus on results or the content. So that might be, from our perspective, a better way to do whatever you want to do together, and that might cause some conflicts later, so just be prepared that makes sense, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
That you have something in mind, like we did yesterday, like we did a little meetup, like speed dating, people get in touch with each other, we have a little like feeling for each other, and then you can start off and focus on the results. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
Any questions? I know, Mark, we had a little idea, well, you once shared, there is that sniffing on the butt principle.
Right,
Right?
right,
Dogs.
Dogs sniff on the butt, right?
right, right.
On my first international, well, it wasn't my first, but on an international training in what was it, in Ireland, in Dublin, I shared that. I said, first we're doing a little sniffing on the butt. I'm not gonna sniff on anybody's butt, the first participant said. I said, okay, well, I got that from a guy from It's not my fault. Okay. So, is there anything you want to add? Because I think you have in mind sometimes you don't need that, right? This culture part.
Well, like you have time there,
Mm-hmm.
and so, but you don't have, like, what's the integers? What's, like, is that a 10-minute? Is that an hour, 10 years? And so,
They're very flexible model. It's just
right, and so it's like, I think many people will spend a whole lot of time on the culture. Like, I think that, like, in social gatherings, networking, I mean, it seems like there's a whole lot of time spent on the culture, and often there's not a lot of results.
Mm-hmm.
And so, how do you get through that, like, really, really fast?
Well, what we're doing is, once the culture is set, and we have the feeling maybe after the first meeting, which is all about the culture, that the next meeting we're starting to do project management. Like, what are our common objectives? What is the timeline? What are the baby steps that we have to do? What is your to do? What is my to do? So then we need some structure, and then we are steering through it. Huh.
What I'm seeing is that it overlaps.
Right,
That
right.
the results begin right away, but you've got to really concentrate much more on the culture, but start nipping away at what you want to accomplish, so
Mhm.
that in the end, you're backing away from the culture and you're really working on results.
Right, because the culture is set. We got a
Yeah.
deep, trustful
So what is
relationship.
culture? How do you define it?
Like I said, like the how this is the what do we want to accomplish, and this is the how do we want to work together, how do we want to communicate, is there a trustful relationship between each other, do we have the opportunity to get each other know, what are your values, what are your expectations, what are is your way of being, working.
So, in your experience, would you say that most organizations then have most companies, most organizations, most groups of people, and then have a poor culture?
No, I just said that, in project meetings and times of changes, most of the time that what we discovered is they're not spending time to maintain the culture or to talk about the culture. There might be a culture, but it's not a topic in meetings, in the way they work together. The topics are, what are the milestones, what is our target, and how we gonna, what
So
is
they
the
don't
timeline?
have culture then?
There might be a culture, but it's not on the table. So this is a message is, put it on the table. There, it should be the topic as well as the results and the timelines.
Do you think the next steps of the workshop kind of,
Connect?
we can go back and forth through that?
Oh, we can, yeah, because we're going to share some tools how to create or how to make the culture. There is always a culture, right? So there is no company without a culture.
So just so I understand, so if you have strong culture,
Mhm.
then you shouldn't have conflict? Or it should be, so if you have strong culture, would conflict be eliminated or just handled better?
I would go with the second. So what we did, for example, is a huge project with a company that had a great culture, and all they had to do is to implement a system how to talk about conflicts and how to solve it. I would never ever say eliminate conflicts. Conflicts is a great chance to improve and to come up with something great. Just when somebody's hurt, then there might not be a successful way how to deal with it. Yeah.
I'm thinking, correct me if I'm wrong, but
Mhm.
what I hear you saying is you should concentrate more on the person in the beginning and not so much the results.
Right.
And that, or the people of the
Exactly.
organization.
Mhm.
And
Right,
that,
yeah.
you know, once you've developed a relationship with the, with the people, then the results
Mhm.
hopefully will come. And if there's conflict along the way,
Right.
you can work it out better. So it's not whether there's culture or not culture, or
Right.
results or not results, it's what's your focus.
Right. What's on the table? What are you talking about first?
Okay.
Okay, so far? So we get one step further, and there might be some ideas how to create or how to work on the culture.